We'll call the Vermilion County Council meeting to order, please. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Costello.
Here.
Mr. Weir.
Here.
Mr. Somerville.
Here.
Mr. Bush. Mrs. James, I'm here. Mr. Dreer.
Here.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
All right. First, we have the approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes to approve. We have our regular meeting from October 18th, and we have a special meeting on October 28th. Are there any corrections or additions that need to be made to the minutes? None? All right. Being that there's no corrections, we can approve them together.
See, I've got to abstain on the one here.
Oh, I can do them separate. All right. The October 18th meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve them?
Motion to approve.
A second? I have a motion by Mr. Weir, a second by Mr. Somerville to approve the council meeting minutes for October 18th. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Minutes are approved. All right, and the minutes for October 28th special meeting. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Okay, and a second.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion for Mr. Brown, a second for Mr. Dreer to approve the special meeting minutes from October 28th. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
And abstain.
Mr. Weir abstains. All right. The minutes are approved. Thank you. Next, we have our treasurer's report. Are there any questions regarding the report or comments? All right. Please let it reflect in the minutes that we did receive the treasurer's report. Next, in front of you, you also have the comp time report. Any concerns or questions regarding comp time? All right, please let it be known that it was received as well. All right, moving on to open issues. We're going to do these first. A little out of order tonight, but we want to make sure we get everything completed. We are on a tight time schedule with all the meetings today. We have the Elanco TIF project. At our last meeting, regular meeting, we had the first reading of the bond ordinance. Tonight we'll have the second reading of the bond ordinance, ordinance number 2021-17. This is in regards to the taxable economic development revenue bonds for the Elanco project. It will require a motion and a second tonight to pass it for the second time. Is there any discussion or questions that need to be answered? Okay. It does not look like there's any further questions.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion for Mr. Dreer, a second for Mr. Somerville. Is there any further discussion? All right, with no discussion. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. All right. Ordinance 2021-17 is approved. All right. You also have a resolution in front of you this evening regarding the same Elanco project. It is resolution number 2021-24. This is for the sublease between Vermilion County Economic Development Corporation as the sublessor and the Vermilion County Development Commission. A copy of the sublease is provided. This is for the equipment that they we'll be implementing.
I know it's convoluted, and Tom Pittman, who is attorney for Thornburg and Annapolis, and is the architect of this structure, is with us this evening and trying to answer any questions you may have. But, it's a little bit like the jail, is what I've been telling people. Like, we don't own the jail anymore. We sold the jail, and now we're leasing it back. This is a little bit like that, except we have a private company involved. The company will lease the equipment, some of the equipment, to a entity called the Vermillion County Economic Development Corporation, which is a separate corporation. That corporation will then turn around and sublease that equipment back to Elanco and to Vermillion County Redevelopment Commission. Redevelopment Commission's payments, that's where the money comes in then. Now the Redevelopment Commission can use its TIP revenues received from Elanco to repay the sublease. I know that sounds crazy, it is crazy, but that's how it is structured, and by statute, the council has to approve leases. And so this is a lease by the Redevelopment Commission, a financial kind of lease like this, and so we need your approval. Tom?
I agree with that. If anybody's ever seen the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, slide this egg and it goes through this elaborate machine. To reach all our goals, the bond process is kind of like one of those Rube Goldberg devices, but it gets the job done. It gets a property tax backup. It allows the company to avoid public bidding. And it allows for a pledge of TIF, so it checks all the boxes, done it many times, but it is one strange structure. So, but just like the egg in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, it comes out nice and fried.
Are there any questions? Okay. We will only have to vote on this once, unlike the ordinance, so it is a one-time for the resolution.
Motion.
Okay, I have a motion for Mr. Dreer.
Second. Oh, okay.
I assume that was your motion. Is that yours?
I was winking at you, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'll make a motion that
All
we
right.
accept that resolution.
A second. All right. I have a motion for Mr. Dreer, a second for Mr. Weir. Is there any further discussion? With no discussion, all those in favor of approving resolution number 2021-24, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. All right. The resolution is approved. Okay, that is the only open issue we had. We have some new issues tonight. The town of Dana is here to speak with us about the Dana Water Project. Yeah, if you'll come up here and speak so we make sure we hear you, and if you'll state your name so we can get it in the minutes, please.
Is there anything we need to do on 21 and 25?
Oh, no, that was an extra.
That
Okay.
was the same as 2024.
Okay.
So, I'm shocked you, it was a test to see if you guys noticed they would say that.
Okay. Well, that apparently didn't pass.
Pass that down. That's the letter that was sent
Thank
to
you.
each of you, I believe. My name is William Peebles. I am representing the town of Dana today. And
I am Jeremy Birch with HWC Engineering.
Steve Brock with Thurber Brock and Associates.
so tonight, or today, I come to you asking for some money to help with the water project. We started a water project 2 years ago, and then we were hit by a pandemic, and the amount of estimated cost for this water project went up over $1 million in the last 2 years. We are struggling to come up with some money to pay for this project, and we're asking the county to pitch in $500,000, and whatever the county pitches in, SRF is going to match dollar for dollar on top of the SRF loan or grant that we already have as a gift to the town of Dana. So right now we have $700,000 from Okra, $750,000 from SRF, and $120,000 from ARP. Our total cost of our project is going to be right at $2.8 million. It's to replace the water tower, to replace electronic controls in the treatment plant,
aeration tank and aerator behind the treatment plant, and the transmission lines between the wells and the treatment plant. I don't know the exact date, but at one time we had a contract with a company that came in and did yearly maintenance on our water tower, but since has said that it's not safe to climb anymore, so they're not going to climb up and do the maintenance that they were doing. So we had a plan at one time. I don't know when exactly that stopped, but when I worked for the town, I know there was a plan. If there's anything you guys would like to add.
One thing I'd like to add is that this project, for a small town like Dana that has about 259 customers, is going to have a huge effect on user fees. And the rates could go up to $86 for the average user, and the current average user pays $39. So it's a huge increase, and that's why we're here asking you and asking for everybody else we can to help us out. Your $500,000, if you can do it for the American Rescue Fund plan or any other plan that you have, would be matched by the Indiana State Revolving Loan Fund, in addition to the $750,000 they've already given us on this project. And it could bring the user fees down to $57. And what this handed out to you is a schedule of other utilities in Vermilion County and what they pay as a minimum and as an average. You can see that we'd certainly be the highest water rate in Vermilion County, which, as you know, can have huge effects on economic development in and around the town of Dana. I mean, if you've got high water, it's very difficult to get people to come into your town and build and develop. So we're here with what we think is a very good offer for you, that we can get matched 1-for-1 with the Indiana State Revolving Loan Fund, and we're asking for $500,000 from your American Rescue Fund. And we're here to answer any questions you have.
Could you repeat the totals you do have already? It was like 700 and something.
Exactly.
700,000 from Okra,
Okay.
750,000 from SRF, and the American Rescue Plan was another 120,000.
And I've got a schedule.
That's the town's, that the town got in
Right.
their park money is what Bill's talking about.
Okay.
The town is planning on putting its 120,000.
That's $1,570,000, and the total cost of the project is estimated to be $2.8 million.
1.3, basically.
We did send the project out for bid. When we got the bids and opened them the first time, we turned those bids down and rebid it, and the bids came back in higher. So we've trimmed the fat, if you will, out of the project that the engineer firm said we could cut out, and that's still at $2.8 million. So.
Are the ARP funds not eligible to be matched with the same program?
Sorry, one more time.
Is the 120,000 from the ARP eligible to be matched with the Indiana Finance Authority? Like,
I will ask. That's not the offer they gave us, but I'll be glad to go back and ask them if we put that 120 if they'll match that as well. I'll do that. I'll do that tomorrow. It's a very good question. Thank you.
So if we contribute to 500,000, look at these here, are you going to revert back to these monthly lower rates? 39 versus 86, 76?
Yes, you would. You'd go down and, well, you would go down to the 57.
57.
I'm sorry, the other
57, okay, I don't have that on the sheet.
57. Sorry about that, sir. So it's still going to be high, some of the highest rates, but they're going to be more reasonable and rates that are similar to other rates for water utilities in the state that have just come through projects like this one.
What have you guys done with the broadband? You figured anything on that, or?
We have meetings on Friday.
as far as the ARP funds go, we have about $3 million that we received from the federal government. There are stipulations on what we can use that for. Water does fall in there, broadband falls in there. There are several other categories. We have not actually discussed as a council what we'd like to do with it yet. I know there is a broadband meeting this Friday to discuss broadband. So as far as cost of things, I don't think we've been approached with anything regarding cost of projects for any individual topic that would be qualified underneath the ARP.
This is a shovel-ready project. We're ready to go. If we had the money, we would be going, but we don't currently have the funding without taxing our water customers that outrageous amount of money for water every month.
We are also in a timing constraint, and we haven't talked about that yet, but the money we've got from the state revolving loan fund, the $750,000, has to be spent before March. We have to close our loan with them, or else that can revert back to the state revolving loan fund. The $700,000 from Oprah, we've already got an extension to on our timeline, our deadline for that, and it'd be difficult to ask for a second extension. I just filed a due diligence submission today to the state revolving loan fund for this. Told them that we're looking and asking the county for additional money to try to buy down the loan, but we're scheduled with a loan closing for December 15th. So we really need an answer by the end of November to be able to schedule the documents to be able to close our loan and make our loan closing December 15th.
Well, I own property in Dana, but I don't use any water, so I guess it's okay for me to say, I think with them matching it, we probably ought to just do it all.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
With them matching dollar for dollar, I think we ought to just fund the whole thing, the balance of it, and be done with it. Spend a little less on broadband, maybe.
So is this your last line of like funds then available? Like you've sought out all grants possible then for funding?
We've sought out all grants possible. We still have an additional Okra grant that we've gone back to. We got Okra. We went back and asked them again, just like we asked the SRF again for additional money. We haven't heard from them. We've heard that it's Christy Gerald's our grant administrator. We've heard that it's not likely we're going to get that money, and so we're here asking you. We don't know of any other sources of money that would make a substantial difference to this project to buy it down to a reasonable user fee level.
Okay.
We did apply for the SWIFT funding and did not get it.
Did not.
And as probably everyone knows, the new infrastructure bill has over $55 billion in it that's going to be given to state revolving loan funds for water and wastewater projects. So, you've got additional money that's going to be coming in, but we can't wait for that money. We have to close this year, but the county will be getting additional money in from the new infrastructure bill that was just passed, that will be designated for whatever the new infrastructure bill designates the money for. Part of it goes to utility projects.
So the way I see this is the project's 2.9. You got 750,000 from Okra, 750,000 from SRF, 120,000 for American Rescue, and then if we give you 500,000, you still got 856,000 that you're still short.
They match it.
That's where it's going to give them every dollar that the council gives them. That's
They're
what
gonna
we're
match
gonna
it.
do.
Okay, so we're still short.
406,000.
Okay,
If you give us
400.
500,000, yeah.
Okay.
So if you give us 700,000 approximately, we wouldn't have anything to borrow from the SRF. If that was the question that was being asked.
What? It's a little less than that, really.
You say we had that money.
We have 3 million.
At 1.5 right now. Yeah.
We'll have
It's good to you.
Out of that 3 million, just a quick question. We heard from the commissioners not long ago about all kinds of failed bridges all over the county and how the bridge budget wasn't going to be able to handle that. And were we looking at using ARP funds for
I don't think we're
culvert
able to.
As currently, you can't use it for bridges unless the bridges get coated. So.
Well, you could, well.
But you can
some-
shift things around, I know.
Some of them were culvert projects, they were drainage projects that weren't necessarily bridges that were, so I don't know if those.
It's infrastructure-wise, it's broadband, sewer, water, stormwater. And maybe you could throw a culvert in.
Stormwater, I mean, stormwater is culverts, so when they had County Road 1150 South or something had a blown out culvert that they couldn't afford to fix, so.
Yeah, you might be able to. I don't know, I haven't been that involved. It is stormwater, too, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Jeremy, you might know.
The rules change.
I don't know
Okay.
that part of it.
Imagine that.
I know, because I say a lot of the complaints were culverts, not necessarily bridges per se, as legally defined bridges, so.
What I have, and it's not quoting the ordinance that I know of, but it says water, wastewater, and broadband infrastructure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about somewhere.
It was also the replacement of lost tax revenue. However, I don't think we're
It's not gonna be a-
we're not gonna have enough to be able to claim that.
We'll have some, but.
It can't just be gas. If you've lost gas, but you didn't lose fuel.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well, we may not have it.
I just had this discussion in other places, and they were pretty much assured that stormwater projects like culverts were gonna be covered, well, were covered by this, not were going to be, but were covered. We were kind of planning some of that.
Yeah,
Right,
stormwater
this is why I
and
asked.
wastewater usually go together.
Yeah.
And in one of the meetings that I was at, they said if you have a specific project that you think should be, you can take it to them and we could possibly get approved. But rolling the dice there.
How does the
I
ARP
think
money?
Excuse me, for them to develop up there, they're gonna need this for sure. And if we don't do something, that's gonna end up being a ghost town up there, because everybody's gonna leave. They can't afford those water bills. People's living up there cannot, they're on fixed incomes, a lot of them, they just can't afford that. So we need to do something to help them.
Water is important for everyone. As far as appropriations, how does that work with the ARP?
Well, that's a great question, I don't know. And I think that you would have to appropriate the money, there's no question of that. The question that I do not know the answer to as I sit here, there's about 12 lawyers in the room, so if any of them know, they can speak up. But, I do think we also have to get the commissioner's approval, because there has to be, you have to spend your money according to a plan.
Okay.
And that plan would need to be approved by the commissioners. So, now, I know that they came and talked to the commissioners last night. The commissioners didn't say no, so.
Right.
But I think it takes both groups to agree to do it. I think that if you were to
So
say
would
that you're gonna do it.
a motion to pledge that?
We don't actually have to have the cash, like, tomorrow. or
Right.
anything.
I figured since we didn't advertise it, we couldn't actually like spend it anyways.
No, we would.
But as far as a motion, if someone wants to make a motion, do they need to make a motion to pledge the funds for this project?
Well, yeah, we'd have to have you're right, we would have to do an additional appropriation, and it would also be subject to the commissioners agreeing to spend the money.
I'd like to make a motion that, I hate to table, and put these people off for another month. I mean, we need to help them, but I think we need to get some answers on some of the stuff's been asked here, and we need to digest this a little bit more. So I would make a motion to table it, and be in favor of these people, but we need answers on some of this stuff.
The problem they have is they have to know by November 30th.
We'd have to have a special meeting.
So you're gonna have to have a special meeting.
That wouldn't be a problem, but would be a problem you.
I mean, with the importance of the
That'd be
project, you know, the citizens of Dana, I think it warrants a special meeting if we're going to consider this, so. They're on a time constraint, we have questions, so.
In the commissioner's plan, is it possible they're gonna bring us other water projects and put them all in, or, I mean, is that something?
I'm not privy, I don't
once
know.
we-
Marty, I
okay.
don't know.
Cause are there other water projects?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and so,
There's always water.
We have wastewater projects.
so, yes.
Stormwater, yeah, there's projects.
So
all
once
over.
we go, we need to kinda know that that's gonna open it up.
And I would like to mention, this is probably the only project that you have currently that's gonna give you a 2-for-1 offer.
Right.
And we're really thrilled to be able to get this off from
Right.
State of Ogden and present it to you.
On your end, what, do you actually have to have the cash in hand by November 30th? Or you just have to have like a written agreement to fund it?
Your minutes stating that you would fund it would be enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we advertise it correctly.
But technically, the pledge to fund would come from commissioners. The commissioners would develop the plan, they're the administrative, they would
Well, it
spend the
wouldn't be an
money, we
additional-
would approve them the money that they pledged to the project.
So we don't have to have 48 hours.
So it requires both the commissioners and the council. We just can't, we can't enter
That's
into
why I wanna
any
make-
kind of a contract, they would, since they're the administrators, so that's, I think, where
We do it
we're at.
together. Okay, since it's just a commitment, we can advertise for 48 hours in advance, correct?
For me, now, you may want to go ahead, if you are inclined, we could advertise a additional appropriation of $500,000. You don't have to do 500, you can do anything less than 500. The issue, we need to get it in the paper 10 days
Saturday.
ahead of the meeting.
For the
So-
additional part, which they said they just need the commitment in the minutes, so.
Well, yeah.
But, I mean, like, if it came to worst case scenario, we can't get the commissioners to meet in time, and we have to do a 48-hour meeting.
I don't usually do this, but when the commissioners talked about it last night, they didn't indicate anything but that they would discuss it at their next meeting. If you wait until after their next meeting, which is on the 23rd, you don't have 10 days left to advertise this before the end of the month.
Right. So they need a special meeting.
So if we put it in on the 13th, and you guys have a meeting on the 22nd,
So I think Scott's point is you might want to go ahead and pre-advertise the additional just in case.
And we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, again, that way you don't have to come back and do an additional if you decide to.
Okay, it's there if we need it.
23rd.
The issue is Thanksgiving is what, the 23rd.
Do we want to meet before the commissioners or after the commissioners?
The commissioners meet on the 23rd that morning.
What do they need to have at their meeting
Do
to
they-
make this happen?
Do
if
they
it's
need to know
going
that we are in agreement first, or do we need to know that they're in agreement first? What came first, the chicken or the egg?
That would be helpful if you could, we met with them last night, and they wanted to have some time to consider this. We're here talking to you because of the timing. It would be great if you could give an indication of what you want to do tonight so that the commissioners would be able to evaluate that.
Okay, so let's meet before the commissioners.
The 20th.
They meet on the 23rd.
Or you want to do the additional with it?
We wouldn't have time probably.
Okay, because the
We just have
13th,
to-
if you get it on the 13th, the 22nd would be the 10th day.
Is the 22nd enough
I don't even know.
to advertise?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I come up with 9.
22nd and 13th are counted. Are you counting both of them?
Yeah, I wasn't. I was counting. All right. Yeah, you could do it. You could get it in.
If I can get it in.
Yeah, it was
Eric,
new today.
Eric would have to have it tonight, wouldn't he?
That's ultimately Tony's call, but I would think that can probably.
Thank you.
I'll be out of town on the 22nd, be back on the 23rd.
So if this doesn't work, whose fault is it?
Motion died for
Not
lack of
mine.
second.
Eric.
I think a motion died for lack of second, I believe.
I didn't accept your motion.
You what?
I didn't accept your motion yet.
Not yet.
I'm gonna figure out the details.
So is that right then? Is wait 13th on the 22nd?
You can do it the 22nd, you can do it the 23rd, but if you want to do it before the commissioners, your options are fairly limited. 22nd would be it, pretty much, unless you want to meet at 7 in the morning or something, so. Or you can wait until after, I mean, you guys do what you want, I'm just saying, best I can. I'll help
Rick
you.
can't be here on the 22nd. Is there anyone else that can't be here on the 22nd? It's a Monday.
I could be here on the 22nd. 23rd, I'd have to make big arrangements, but I
Okay.
could be here on the 22nd. Could he call in?
You can vote,
I'm not
actually,
okay.
we can still have, I forgot about that, we can do
Remote.
electronic meeting policy, so we could have people participate remotely if that is available.
I could do that.
Can you, I mean,
I'll pull over
Is there
the
a
side of the
minimum
road.
requirement for a quorum in person?
We're still under executive order, emergency
Oh,
order, so
so
no, but
Not yet.
after this month.
But everybody could be here except for Rick.
And he thinks he might be able to phone in.
Yeah.
okay. All right, so on the 22nd, what time? You want during the day, in the evening? I know it's a holiday week, so I don't know. What's your preference?
Earlier the better.
After 4?
After 4? We're out of school. Oh, no, wait, we're in school those days, aren't we? We go Monday, Tuesday. You'll have a bus route.
Who else?
You'll have a bus route that day.
Who?
You.
You're the only one driving
You driving a bus?
Randy.
No?
What time can you be here on the 22nd?
About 5:30 in the morning.
No, no.
Okay.
Or the bus route. I don't have to be here. You don't accept anything I say anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yes, they do. APC has a meeting at 6.
Here, in this room.
Yeah.
Any other rooms we can use?
Can you do the middle of the day?
I'll just work around everybody else's schedule, whatever they gotta do. I just see those so I can make mine.
Can-
Do anytime.
Okay, Neil?
I'll be here. Just set the time.
Okay. Can you do 10 a.m.?
What?
Can you do 10 a.m.?
Is that after breakfast?
Yep, I'll bring you a donut.
Probably can make it.
I won't make it.
He'll make it for a donut.
If we bring Donnie up here,
10 a.m.?
10 a.m.
And then if you can't make it, I think we should still have enough, so.
Okay.
But 10 a.m., is that okay? All right, 10 a.m. on the 22nd.
And it's coming out of the ARP fund, right?
All right, so now would you like your make
Just advertise that.
your motion to table?
Is that gonna be Zoomed or just?
Yeah.
Possibly.
You want to make a
And
motion to
that's
table
all.
it?
I rescind that motion that I
Yeah, we
made.
can do it all. Well, let's say with them matching it dollar for dollar, I don't know why we're not.
All right, we're, all
So,
right.
so we can only match 500,000, or can we do the difference, 600,000, whatever it is?
650, basically.
Where was the where was-
678?
The revolving loan fund, which, what's the funding from that? State revolving.
They only match up to
That's what we
500,000.
can match.
No, I meant,
I don't know.
if there's still a shortfall in the
There's
project,
still a
where was
shortfall.
that gonna come from?
We were
So
gonna
at
have
the
to borrow,
rate
that's
level.
the money we were gonna have to borrow.
The rates will
That
go
would
up.
result in-
They'll match,
Some kind of a rate increase, a little bit, or?
they'll match it all if we went that way.
I can't hear you.
They would match everything if we went for the full amount? Or is
That was their
500?
statement, they would match everything that you came up with. I think they would do that.
Okay.
That's more than they were anticipating. I believe they would do that. I'll push them to do that.
And how much money are we getting in the future, you saying, for this stuff?
From the infrastructure bill, I don't know how it's gonna be allocated yet, but there's money that's gonna come into the county, just like the last bill that came in. Again, Mr. Pittman may have a better idea than I do on how much is gonna come into the cities and counties and the states from. the
Got it
infrastructure.
in my emails, but I haven't had a chance to look
Okay,
at it.
okay.
Sorry.
But you would agree that there's gonna be additional money coming into the counties from the new infrastructure bill?
That's my understanding. In fact, I've had people suggest that certain SRF deals, in terms of SRF money, but wasn't the ARP money was to be in 2 stages all along?
It is, yeah, 2 tranches, absolutely.
Okay, so that would mean more is coming in, wouldn't it?
Yes, yeah, half 2021, half 2022.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds
So
right.
we set any type of precedence
Take
with
it
the
with
other.
me every place I go.
There you go. And you already do all
That's
that.
with the other towns,
That's
not,
what I'm asking,
Yeah.
even ourselves.
that's right.
Okay. All right, wait, so we have a special meeting scheduled for November 22nd at 10 a.m. to further discuss the funding for the Dana Water Project.
Is that what you want her to put, she's putting it, sending it to the chamber right now, is that what you want, is the 500,000? That has to be.
So since we are advertising the additional appropriation,
You
so
can advertise for $3 million if you want.
what amount would you like to advertise for the amount on the
The
additional?
full amount to do the entire project would be my recommendation, and we can cut that down if we decide to at the special meeting.
Okay.
It could be less, right, Scott? Just not more, so it would be half of the amount of the total needed to complete the entire project.
678.
That's what.
That way we're not,
Hmm?
I think it's
703
678.
is the number I come, 703.
703.
703. And you could always do less than that, but if you wanted to put that as an advertisement, that would mean that there would be no direct loan on the SRF with the project.
yeah, and then we'll decide,
So-
is it 0, 500, 703 at the special meetings?
So we'll advertise $703,000 for the project, which would be their full request for the complete funding of the project. However, at that meeting, we can approve less than 703, depending on how much funds we believe we have available for projects.
If any, yeah.
Yep.
Actually, can I say just one thing? If you do have any questions that you would like them answer before that meeting, if you could let them know, that would be a better way of doing it. So,
Okay. Yeah, if anyone has questions, please, can I have it sent to you? That way you can forward them on? Okay, so send them to Brenda so she can forward them.
or the rate, you know, how the rate calculations do.
So, if you did get
Sorry, gentlemen.
this additional money, so to speak, from the county, and so the rate for the customer definitely would not go up. That would change.
They would go up, but they would not go up to the 55, 57. I have to do the calculation to go up. There needs to be a general increase.
Yeah, I have to have some.
Project.
Have to have some.
Since 2015, since I've had a rate increase,
Right.
it's time for
Just
another.
for future.
That'd be much more
Just
moderate.
yeah, they're balancing below, they just.
So this, go ahead, I'm sorry. This project is, basically, is this complete water system? I mean, replacement of pipe, I haven't seen the plans, I don't know what the blueprints look like, but water mains,
The water
treatment?
mains will not be.
So no
replaced.
additional fire hydrants or anything
No,
like that?
all that was done 4 years ago. That, we did a big leak study and got our leaks all under control to where
Okay.
we probably got one of the lowest water losses in the state of Indiana.
Just the highest
We were
water.
just afraid our wells were gonna give out on us and not be able to produce water, so we hired a guy to come in and hooked up some meters on some water mains and found leaks that we had.
So how's the condition of distribution then? You guys feel confident that distribution's good now?
Yes.
If I may, the 2015 project replaced all galvanized mains. It replaced all the asbestos cement mains and any cast iron mains that were in poor condition. We replaced hydrants that didn't work or didn't have shut-off valves. We added isolation valves throughout the town so they can actually isolate their system and be able to maintain it properly. And then they were able, in addition, along with that, then to reduce their water loss significantly, so that whenever we looked at doing a new elevated storage tank, it went from 125,000 gallons down to 75,000 gallons. And so this is the phase 2 of their water system improvements, which is now looking at all the rest of the system needs, including their well fields, the transmission main from the well field to the plant, all the equipment at the plant that is 50 years old, in addition to their elevated storage tank, which is actually nearly 100 years old. So just to give you an idea of the scope, as well as water meters throughout town.
And that takes care of it, there's no phase 3 or?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in this evening. We'll see you on the 22nd.
Yes, you
Thank you very,
will.
very much.
Thank you for your consideration.
All right. The only other item we have in new issues is your annual certification of elected official. If you'll please sign that and give that back to the auditor's office.
Didn't we already just do that?
Yep, you might have already
I
signed it. Give
didn't
it
do it,
back.
sorry.
Just making sure you knew it was there. All right. Transfer of funds. We have 3 reporting onlys. The first was community crossings. They are transferring it from one district to the other. It is reporting only. The second was a transfer from public safety funds for the sheriff's department. And the third transfer is from county general, from mailings for the court. They're just transferring money for postage. Okay. Any questions on those? What's that?
I just had a couple questions on those.
Okay, which ones?
The one for the postage,
Mm-hmm.
is that within their budget?
What do you,
Postage went up July 1.
Pardon?
Postage went up July 1.
So they're out of money?
Mhm.
Okay, well, I didn't understand that when I read it out, that they're out of money, it's additional appropriation, not a transfer.
No, that's one's a transfer.
It's just a transfer, we're taking a transfer from one to the other since they ran out.
Out of their budget,
Mhm.
not out of county jail, out of their
No,
budget.
it's in their own budget. They're just
But the
transferring
paperwork
one
I
to
got
the
is county general. Is that correct?
other. Right, she's just transferring from one line to another line because they're out of postage.
The other one I had a question on was the one on Mike Phillips, we just need to get some clarification on that. It says for, services rendered, and theoretically it's to buy a van, I believe. Did he speak to you, Brenda, today about that? Here's the
That
one.
was what it was. Yeah, the one I had.
We have a van one. I have one on my desk for a van and 3 cars. but
Is this a different one?
I don't
than
know
got
what that
today?
one is.
That's one I got in my packet.
Yeah, that's the one I got. I don't think that's the van.
No, this is not the van. This is not the van.
Okay.
Well, we
thought
can
it
get more
was.
information on him, but it was reporting, so it does not require a vote.
That's fine.
Because it's the same series of accounts. But I bet Mike could explain that for us. We do have one transfer, or, excuse me, an additional appropriation for tonight. It does require a vote. It is for the DOC, from the DOC reimbursement fund. It is for the remote housing of inmates. This amount of $125,000 was included in the original amounts we approved for the jail. We just need to transfer the money into the proper account so it can be paid.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion from Mr. Weir, a second from Mr. Brown, for the additional appropriation of $125,000 for remote housing of inmates from the DOC reimbursement fund. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. All right. Appropriations approved.
I think we're gonna need another one of these next month, not as big, but.
I think we might make it.
Okay, we might.
Because that one was a big one from him, because he hadn't billed us since June, since we
that's
first
fine.
did it.
Yeah.
It was like $38,000.
We did budget for this in 2022's budget, but.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any public comment this evening? All right. With no public comment, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I have one question.
Oh, yeah.
for me. At what point will we review the public safety requests? Or is that an interest of the council to review those at, say, next month's meeting or something like that? They were emailed to us.
Right, and I think we had planned on putting them in the December the meeting. I think is what we originally discussed at the budget hearings.
To make a final decision on amounts
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
I actually put it down for the next meeting.
For
Because I
December?
thought you said that at the last one you'd like to talk about it December. No?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I just make sure everyone was still on board with that.
has everyone received the emails regarding the fire departments? Everyone has them? Okay. So we'll leave it on the schedule for December.
Okay.
We will also have some vacancies on boards that need to be appointed. We do have a couple. The application is online. It is on the courthouse main page. You can apply. I believe we have the Property Tax Board of Appeals for economic development. I believe it's financial industry.
Yes.
And then,
And also, 10 largest.
okay.
One of the 10 largest.
Also, if you're employed by one of the 10 largest employers in the county, there's a seat for that one available.
We are gonna need another one, but I think it might be a commission appointment because one of our board members has left his place of employment and is going to work for the county.
Okay.
So it's gonna take him away from the national paper, so we'll have to request it.
We'll have another one too. All right, so there's 3 on economic development. And then we'll have 2 park board openings, and redevelopment is also, the redevelopment commission, it also has reappointments this year. So like I said, if anyone would like to apply, the application is online. We will review those applications at the December meeting for appointments.
Do they have till the 31st or do they have until the 16th? That's what I
Um,
didn't know.
Commissioners went with what, 31st?
31st? Yeah, I
Right.
didn't know.
31st of what?
December.
Oh.
Oh, November?
There's no 31st.
No, they went to
December.
December.
December 31st. I thought it was December 31st.
Yeah.
December 1st.
We will collect applications until November 30th as well.
November
So that way
30th.
there's no confusion between commission and council. And that will give us, that gives almost everyone 3 weeks to apply. So.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions? All right. Motion to adjourn? Anyone?
Made.
All right. Motion from Mr. Weir, second. Second from Mr. Brown. All right. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Meeting is adjourned.